a little birdie told me, and you mentioned it before, you nearly gave it away, that you were an EMT in college. I feel like there's a story behind this. Please tell
Oh
us
my
about this
gosh.
episode of your life.
Oh my gosh. So I went to college in New Orleans. And when I first got into school, I thought I was going to be on a trajectory that would lead me to medical school. I wanted to have psychology be my main thing. And my dad was like, well, that means you're going to be a psychiatrist. I said, all right. So I thought there's medical school in my future. And I was in love with psychology. But after a little while, I realized that I don't know if I want medical school to be my future, but I still have a really big interest in what I see going on campus. And that was this. Tulane is unique, fairly unique, because it has a completely 100% student run emergency medical service on campus. The only adult is the medical director because they have to have one on staff, right? But this was amazing. These students had two full ambulances. They had their own center, their own like system. They trained, generations, the class ahead trained the next generation. And it was unbelievable. So I got to learn how to go through all this training to be an EMT. And so I became an EMT through, it was called Tulane's Emergency Medical Service, or TEMS. And then I really loved it. And so not only did I work for TEMS while I was in college, but I also worked for the American Medical Response, which was the basically ambulatory transports, like from hospital to hospital, or
Mm-hmm.
someone would come in on the life flight, and we would meet them at the top of the Superdome, and then
Ooh,
pick up the patient and then take him to the hospital. I mean, it's kind of weird to say that like people's most traumatic moments were cool, but it was really cool. And then and then I also worked for the New Orleans Health Department. So they're the ones that answered the 911 calls. So
mm-hmm.
it was the students, it was the New Orleans Health Department, and then transports. And I can tell you, all three were so completely different. Like the
Ooh.
students were mostly because they drank way too much, something similar to that. The the New Orleans Health Department calls were the 911 calls. So those were, I mean, sometimes it was scary because we'd get there before the police arrived. And so there was no one to kind of help manage the scene while we were managing the patient. I
Mm.
remember one time I went to a car accident on I-10, and we got there before the police. And so there was no one had marked off the road. And it was a car accident. There were children involved.
Ooh.
And so at one point I had to go to get the neck brace but the children's neck braces were on the side of the ambulance where the lane of traffic was. We were right past a curve. So
Oh.
no one could see us until they were past the curve. So all of a sudden, all these cars are like just barely missing us. So
Mm-hmm.
I go to get this. And when you're in it, you don't think about yourself. You're thinking about the kids,
Yeah.
especially. So
Yeah.
I run to go get the C collar, and I grab it out of the thing. And no sooner than I turn the corner, and I just wasn't paying attention, it's on me. No sooner than I turned the corner to get back to the back of the ambulance than the semi truck that I had heard the horn, but I don't know why, it just didn't register. The semi truck, they couldn't move out of the way fast enough. I mean, they didn't hit anything, but
Mm.
he came within a foot of me, within a foot. So
Wow.
that was probably the scariest moment of my
Mm.
life. I was almost flattened on the highway, but I wouldn't change
Wow.
anything. It was an incredible experience.
Yeah, epic stuff. Oh my God. And so much to learn. But I get you 100%. When you're on scene, you got a job to do and you're thinking about, looking after the people and all that kind of stuff. You haven't got time. There's no time.
Yeah,
And you just
yeah.
do what you got to do regardless of the risk. You think about it later and you're like, oh, holy crap, But
Right.
but in the moment,
Exactly.
you just focused. You got to get it done. So
A
yeah,
hundred
wow.
percent.
That's a
Yeah.
great story. Oh my
Thank
God. I
you.
love
Thank
it. I
you.
love it. Oh, oh, okay. We need to move into the next round, but I don't want to like seem dismissive in any way, shape, or form because
No,
I'm
this is
not.
great. I
I'm
love
not.
your show. This is fantastic.